What is in your pocket? What's in your pockets, as Gollum would say. How to build a smartphone for $70? You can do that. You may not think you're political, but you do vote with your phone. The decisions you make every day influence the decisions, the focus, and the direction of our society. Every choice of your phone, even owning a phone, is a complicated choice. We'd all like to pretend our choices don't make the world better or worse, but we do not live in a vacuum. Vacuum. I like that. Vacuum. You affect your tribe, your community, and the entire world a little bit every day. Like drops of water forming a river, we are direct the entire world just a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. So this is an Wall Street Journal article on how to build your own smartphone. They go through and they pick up all the parts in China, and they can build their own smartphone for $70, and they can actually do a logo on it and everything. So basically, when you're paying for a smartphone or something in the US, you're paying an enormous uptick on what it actually costs the company. Because the company get it for me less than $100, you're paying several hundred. So the markup is enormous for us in this country. But that's not the true cost of the phone. What you need to know is, like in the US, there's a place called Spruce Pine. If you don't know where Spruce Pine is, no, Spruce Pine, North Carolina. It contains the only quartz deposit that you can use to make a smartphone chip. So a little chip in your phone, you can't get it anywhere else. Um, it's an Appalachian backwater. 20% of the country's 15,000 people. There's only 15,000 people in the county. Almost all of whom are white, live below the poverty line. You're the one 7 adults has a college degree. So this is an incredibly poor area of North Carolina, where the only stuff that they need for the world exists. So their silicon needs to be 99.999999911 pure. One lonely atom can throw the whole thing off. So basically, this is the only place in the world you can get silicon so pure you can use it to make silicon chips. Silicon chips are the chips that you use in your smartphone to make it smart. Without that silicon, you can't make the chips. Without the chips, you can't have a smartphone. So when they had a fire in 2008, they shut down the world's supply of silicon chips. Gone. So you'd think they'd be wealthy in that area. Nope, it's actually owned by a Belgian conglomerate called Unimin. Unimin owns it, and they aren't telling anybody how much silicon is left. So we don't know how many more silicon chips there are out there, because once you stop having that pure silicon, you can't really make chips anymore. So you're like, wow, wait, that's in backwoods Appalachia. People are really poor there. Well, that's kind of bad. I'm kind of feeling a little bit, I don't know, concerned about my smartphone and how it's not actually benefiting the people who are making it. Just hold that thought. We're going to keep going. So what about the rarer metals? Well, it turns out that we get tungsten for our smartphones from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and it gets kind of whitewashed through other areas. But basically, that's what happens: is that the area of the Congo, whoop, there I go up in the air. The area of the Congo literally has a lot of violence. People aren't supposed to be doing trade with the Congo, but they do, and they get their tungsten, and it kind of gets put through some intermediaries. Here's a kid in Congo, North Democratic Republic of Congo, says, "Hey, look, I don't have any water, but do you have a good smartphone?" So this is how it seems fair to him. That's actually the accent from Democratic Congo. I actually looked it up. It's very interesting, kind of a sing-song. Onward. So do your due diligence if you can, but they tend to be able to do intermediaries and fake you out. All right, so let's say what else we got. Turns out that when you're trying to make smartphones, you need rare earths. Rare earths do this cool thing where they are always near radioactive elements. In order to get rid of the radioactive elements, you have to wash them out and have the rare earth separate, and you sell that. And the radioactive stuff you give to Mr. Essoman. Essoman took it with he and his buddies in Malaysia, and they drove it out, and they thought it was fertilizer. They gave it to farmers, put it on their fields. They took some of it and painted their house with it, and it kept the mosquitoes away because it was radioactive. And they realized that they were hauling radioactive waste, and they shut down the plant for 2 years until they got it to reopen again. And now they're still going, and there's all this waste there. And that's what's happening. is that basically radioactive waste is the byproduct of rare earth metal mining. It always happens. Thorium is extracted out, and they use sulfuric acid baths, which means they have to use tons of water, clean water that's never can be used again because it's radioactive when they're done. And then they have to store it in this kind of slurry, basically a soup, if you will, a nice radioactive soup that has to be stored safely for, between 14 billion years and maybe just 4.5 billion years. Like, wait, 4.5 billion years, that's the age of the Earth. Yes, we're going to keep this in a plastic bin for the age of the Earth again. I don't think so. This is not going to happen. But this is what the companies are claiming. And I'm like, you're not going to be around in 4 billion years to be sued for the fact that there's big piles of radioactive waste you left behind, and you're counting on that. Local versus state control. This is a place called Bukit Merah in Malaysia. A place called Linus Corporation has figured out what to do with the slurry. Their plan is to not store the toxic wastewater at all, but to dilute it and pour it back out into the sea, where they will affect 3,300 different species of fish. This is Bukit Merah. There's a nice hotel, and there's the whole city, and there's probably the mining operation in the back. Just dilute it. They're going to dilute it out. And he said, well, look, if they're going to put 1 million tons of radioactive waste out, they're going to need 6 million tons of filler. And then they're going to need people to take 7 million tons of stuff. Where is this stuff going to go? It's going to get dumped in the ocean. And that whole area is going to become radioactive. And we're going to have a radioactive ocean in the area. That's what's going to happen. So rare earth metal magnets are incredibly cool. And you might think to yourself, what kind of idiot would buy a rare earth metal magnet? Guilty as charged. I didn't realize exactly how bad they were until I got some. And some of you like to play with these rare earth metal magnets, and you think they're just fun toys, and you're kind of grumpy that they're so expensive. There's a reason they're expensive. They actually cost a lot more. That's not the problem. It's not the toys. This stuff is used in all of the green energy stuff. So defense technology, but also hybrid and electric cars. So there's your hybrid car. And those are all the rare metals that you need to make that hybrid car run. And you're like, wait, that means that we're mining a lot of radioactive waste to pay for an electric car's motor. Like, yeah, it's kind of an issue. And actually, if you buy anything from Amazon at this point, you're like, well, wait, is there waste products involved? Of course there are. 40% of non-Amazon sellers are from China, whether directly or indirectly. And here's a nice number. 1 to 2 kilograms of permanent magnets per vehicle motor is required if you're going to use an electric vehicle. And that's going to mean that 95% of that stuff. So think about 1 or 2 kilograms, and that's leading to tons of radioactive waste per motor created. So you're like, oh, that's kind of bad. Yeah. Oh, and that's it. Oh, wait, I don't need this screen. Hang on a second. Let's keep going. How much waste does neodymium create? Basically a huge quantity. Now multiply the extraction for every compound in your phone and you have a better sense. Could we recycle neodymium? We should, and I wish somebody would work on this because we can't do it yet. And so what's in your pocket? There you go. There's the heavy metals. Those are not the heavy metals. Those are the rare earth metals that are in your cell phone that have been extracted at great cost to the rest of the planet. So maybe we should recycle our cell phones. That sounds like a concept. I think that'd be a great idea. Nobody's doing it right now. I have a recycled cell phone in my pocket. What do you have in yours? Thanks for listening. That's all I have to say about this.